So in the fourth subtask of the CSV Data Analyzer project, we are going to be building the filter data function. So let's look at the task for this particular subtask. As usual, we're going to handle empty data, and then we're going to ask the user to give a column name. And first of all, we have to check whether or not that column exists. Like, let's say user gives a non-existent column, we cannot filter based on a non-existent column. So therefore, we have to verify whether or not the column exists. So after that, we have to ask the user to give a value to filter by. So let's say the user wants to see whoever has the age of 30, then we should ask the user to give a value based on which we'll search in the data set, and then we're going to give the output to the user. So basically, this is the filtering logic. We're going to iterate through each row in the data, and we're going to store whatever rows matches the filtering conditions the user gave. We're going to store that particular row in a new list. And we're going to make sure to not modify the original data list. We'll simply be creating a new list, and we're going to be storing the matching rows over there. And then we're going to display the filtered results to the user. Or else, let's say that we don't find any matching results, we're going to simply print out no matching records found. Now let's look at the code. As usual, we're importing the CSV and statistics modules. And then this particular function has been explained in the previous subtask. Now in the filter data function over here, first we're going to take the data as an input, and we're going to run a simple if case where if the data is empty, we're going to print out no data available. And then here we are asking the user by which column we should filter. And after getting which column we should filter by, we're first going to validate whether or not the column is in the data set. So we're going to check if column is not in data 0. So the reason why we're given data 0 and not data 1 is, it doesn't really matter which one we give, because in each dictionary, the list of key values will be same. That is, the name of the columns will be same. So that is why it doesn't matter whether we give data 0 or data 1. And in case the column does not exist, that is, if column is not in data 0, then we're going to print out invalid column name, and then we're going to go back to the main function. After that, we will be taking input from the user as to which value we should filter the column by. So we have taken input over here, and the reason we have given f over here is to make sure is whatever content present in the column variable over here to be printed out. We don't want the actual word column to be printed out. Instead, we want the value of column. That's why we have given f, and we have enclosed column in the floor brackets. Now we will be initializing the second list where we will be storing the matching rows. The list will be filter data over here. So first we're going to iterate through each row, that is for I in range length of data, which is basically the list of rows. So over here in this if statement, we have given if data of I column equal to value. That is basically meaning if the data in the particular row and a particular column matches the value given by the user, we are going to append that entire row to this list over here. After that, we are going to check whether or not the filtered data list is empty. That is, after this entire loop, if there are no rows in filtered data, then that means no matching rows were found. That is why we are going to print out no matching records found. Or else, let's say the filtered data does exist, that is, it does contain some rows. Then we're going to print out those rows over here. So you can see we have passed on the filtered data list to the display info function. So this tells us that the filtered data list and the original data list are both of the same format, that is, both are list of dictionaries or a list of rows. And we have explained these two functions in the previous subtask. And the main function will be same as the previous subtask, asking the user as to which particular function they want to perform on the data set and giving them the choice to choose which function they want to perform over here. So let's just run this code once. So the data set I have here is data.csv. So let's say I give the column name as name. So let's say the name I want to find is Bob. So you can see we have one row where the name is Bob, and we printed it out over here. So let's just submit this once to see if this is proper. So we have passed all 5 test cases. Now let's move on to the final subtask.